Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Sophia and today we'll be talking about Ardra Nakshatra. This is where the howler rears his head. So the location of this nakshatra is 6 degrees 40 minutes and 20 degrees and 0 minutes of Gemini. So the way that the story begins is that many eons ago, when Brahma, the creator, was unable to conceive children, he was forced to transform into something else, something that was undefeated by mere biology, something that could self-create, but also something that could self-destruct. The question was, who would mess with this thing? He became known as Lord Rudra, the Howler himself. Remember reading in an old textbook that the world was created with a bang? With an explosion, Rudra split himself into multiple forms to populate the universe as we know it. He simply howled, and the universe manifested. The first remnants of creation came from a violent force of opposing forces that held everything together. The positive collided with the negative. Male and female copulated. Matter and antimatter bounced off of each other, or they annihilated each other. And so emerged space-time where energy and dark energy were free to dance till the end of existence. All texts, scientific or spiritual, say the same things. The big explosion led to a reverberation of energies that continue to expand even today. We know this as the observable universe. All creation is just a play of sounds reverberating through the cosmos, just like a divine mixtape that plays endlessly, rising and falling in rhythms inconceivable to the human ear. It is as if the planets, stars, humanity, all are simply beats in this vast expanse of one long jazz song. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna indicates the quickest and most potent way to enlightenment is the practice of mantra japa. This is also known as Nada Yoga, or the science of consecrated sounds that can be used for many things. It can be used for healing, peace, and even to win at war. But really, it is the science of creation. So if you repeated certain words correctly, they hold the power to fast-track your alignment with the source and bring about manifestations of any sort. Does this mean that we are all able to create anything we want at any time? Let's understand Betelgeuse. It is the fixed star associated with Ardra Nakshatra. Betelgeuse is a powerful star located on the shoulder of Orion. It is said to be the howler's abode. This star promises many things, among which are success, power, and strength. But when have great things ever been free of cost? I don't remember any. So tragedy is the hallmark of this nakshatra. Ardra is the nakshatra of destruction. So let's understand a little bit more about its nature. Symbolized by a teardrop and known as the Stormbringer, the ruling deity Rudra is the fiery form of Lord Shiva, which in itself is a great mystery, because Lord Shiva, the ultimate divine source, is rarely bothered out of its state of enlightenment, also known as samadhi. When he finally awakens, though he is the most violent of all gods put together, he brings about a dark night of the soul you wouldn't imagine. This is where things get really interesting. The planet ruling Ardra is Rahu, and we know that Rahu is not a planet at all. It is the north node of the moon, so it is a point in space that brings about eclipses. And what do eclipses, dark nights, and storms have in common? They all hide the light long enough to cast a wide net of illusion, chaos, and confusion, till you are forced to accept your shortcomings. This is when the light breaks through. So transformation and the power of destruction are hallmarks of this nakshatra. So in the end, Ardra natives are sure to face at least one big challenge in their lifetimes. One challenge that is often big enough to permanently change them, and one that permanently defines them. And anyone that comes in contact with them after, they better be careful, because you're sure to be pulled into that void of pain that they are experiencing as well. But do not mistake these tragedies for weakness, because remember, the first rule of creation is destruction. So Betelgeuse is an immensely powerful star of destruction. This automatically makes Ardra intimidating beings. They have sharp intellects and they can use their skills to bring about renewal. Ardra is also known as the moist one. Just like soil is made fertile after rain, Ardrans bring about regeneration too after destruction. They can make for great freedom fighters, activists, and even house flippers. This is also their way of breaking through the great illusion. The challenge here is learning the skill of letting go. But this is also where things get challenging, because it is challenging to let go. Bereavement, although common, impacts everyone differently. For Ardrans, this act of nature would hit them like a ton of bricks. Depression follows a long night of the soul. Their neighbors may be quick to recover from loss, but for an Ardra person, grief would last half a lifetime. Domestic violence survivors will tell you that the decision to let go was the hardest part of this whole process, sometimes even more than the violence itself. Tragic as it is, when an Ardra native experiences a big life event, the one problem they repeatedly encounter is convincing themselves to accept their circumstances, because they often feel that they can overcome anything. But sometimes the illusion is too big to overcome. So to an Ardran person, my advice would be that some things cannot be saved. And more importantly, it is not meant to be saved. Nature created this darkness just as everything else, just as light. So it is important to understand that this tragedy is an off-tune beat dancing to the music of the demigods. So best to walk away as quickly as you can and find the light, because it's not that far. This is where we understand the paradox of Ardra. Because Ardra are remarkable beings who are often lost in the great illusion. They may fail to see that the perpetrators were once a victim too. And so victimhood is a complex concept here to explore. Because our shadows appear to us to show us that the sun can be cruel too, because the sun burns, and that's why the north node of the moon, which is the ruler of Ardra, eclipses it, providing temporary relief and also a lot of illusion. But whatever philosophical view is finally taken on this, transformation for an Ardran person is certain. A part of their life is so painful it defines them. Natives cannot help but shine a light on it for other people to see as well. Because once the illusion passes, the sun shines bright. Ardrans can experience poverty, malice, and greed. There is jealousy, chaos, rumors, and possessiveness inherent in some of their relationships. Most people would rather flee from such distress. It sounds difficult, doesn't it? But rejecting a part of themselves would alienate an Ardran person even more. So rejection or dissociation is not the answer here. Let's understand the symbolism of the teardrop and might explain why this nakshatra is so challenging. That is when the symbol of Ardra becomes really potent, when I said the teardrop, because it symbolizes pain, yes, but also relief. Once the emotion is released, much like Rudra howling into the night, the natives feel like they can let things pass after all. The second part of their lives get easier. They become highly resilient beings who know how to make use of their lessons to help others. But do not expect free love and light from an Ardran person. They help by bringing you into direct contact with their own shadow. And that one is hard to escape. And that to me reads like a lot of conflict in the beginning. Historically, famous psychologists, neuroscientists, researchers, counselors, musicians, and artists who have left behind legacies of work that are still serving society even today are sure to have Ardra prominent in their charts. This is where we try to understand the dual nature of Ardra, because Rahu, or the North Node, is the ruling planet. Mercury rules over their sign because it falls into Gemini. So Rudra having both male and female components all refer to the dual nature of this nakshatra. The lesson is being able to integrate polarity. That's their sole mission on planet Earth. Once they learn this lesson by channeling all their repressed rage towards healing, they are a force to be reckoned with. And anyone that distanced themselves for fear of becoming them suddenly becomes a friend. So Ardran beings experience the changing of tunes very quickly indeed. Let's understand the secrets of Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse is a lesser-known star in the Orion constellation, but nevertheless connected with the ancient Egyptian gods Isis and Osiris. Beings of this dimension belong to the realms lower than that of Earth, and they can have reptilians as their ancestors. They have a reptilian nature to themselves as well. Their destructive side cannot manifest so easily on Earth unless there has been some sort of foul play. Beings that do make it to this planet often face tragedy at least once. This is karmic backlash from their reptilian activities in the Milky Way galaxy. So they must come face to face with their nature or perish on Earth. Just like Earth reptilians, these natives can have immense physical strength, a scaly attitude, and much stamina. They also have a lot of wealth. This part of the nakshatra does fall into Gemini, and Gemini is known for excellence and skill within business. So the purpose of this nakshatra is kama, which is Sanskrit for material enjoyment. So they can be highly sexual and opportunistic as well. But let's not forget that all reptilian beings coming to planet Earth can be misunderstood creatures. And they have been misunderstood for very, very long on planet Earth. Reptilians here have a deep insecurity that often gets unnoticed. In their DNA, they are aware of society's hate for their kind. So they hide away their needs, or they learn to hide away their needs quite early on in their lives. Repressed emotions result in troubling mood swings, and this makes for a disastrous combination. They can feel incomplete on their own. They often need support but fail to show it, so they seek sexual conquests to fill this gap. Can you see a problem with this approach? Because whoever said repressed rage was a trait they wanted in their loved one, no one did. So they can seem melancholy and uninterested in their approach to life, yet they have sharp intellects and a cutting tongue. You will not win over them in a battle of words. On the flip side, the natives do not realize that the storm is already within them. Intuitively, they are seeking this chaos for themselves on the outside as well. So they might encounter a taste of their own shadows. Taking responsibility for themselves will be their salvation, and this is really important for their learning on planet Earth. What is the influence of Rahu, or the North Node, in their charts? Although Rahu's influence doesn't relent, because he eclipses the essence of the house it's placed in, creating the perfect bait. Relationships can be obsessive, and they can frog leap from one opportunity to another, constantly seeking stimulation to the point of overdrive. They can also be easily dissatisfied and yet crave isolation in the most inopportune moments. Addictions and unusual ideologies may follow Ardrans around. Some natives may discover that they have ADHD, and others may develop similar traits later from overuse of technology. There is also definitely rebellion and karma associated with this nakshatra. Do remember that Rahu is a creator of illusion. It is also known as the fiercest form of Durga, or the fierce goddess, in Hindu mythology. Because the illusion is the divine feminine, we all experience life because of it. Without it, there is no living. And so, Ardran beings do experience the quest for the unknown. Rahu gives them the craving for all things foreign. This makes them interesting to others and can also be the cause of suspicious first impressions. What is seen on the outside is not what is simmering away inside. What people won't understand is that the storm is brewing for a major karmic cleansing. The act of non-destruction is their karmic path forward into the light. Practicing non-violence physically, emotionally, and spiritually is the biggest remedy for any Ardran person alive. This is where they find true happiness, and this is where they will find the light after the storm passes. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast on Ardra. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next one.